Hello, and welcome back to Laura's Plans. I'm Laura, and I wanted to today, or tonight I guess, kind of go over the different notebook options that I have for moving into October. As you guys know, I am out of pages in my Stalogy, and it's been about, I want to say 17 months that I've actually been using a Stalogy notebook for my bullet journaling system. And although I had purchased and have several of these Stalogy Pale Dot Grids, I'm kind of feeling the itch to switch. I don't know if it's because it's planner release season or just human nature, I think, to want to try something a little bit different after being in something so long. But at least for me, I like to change things up every once in a while, and my goal is to use all of the books that I have on my shelf until I have exhausted my supply. So I am going to put the Stalogy aside because I know that I'm not going to use that in the next coming months. One of the things that caused this, because generally when I start to feel like this, I will think about what it is I'm wanting or feeling like I'm missing in my current notebook and kind of start to think about why is it I want to switch? What is it I'm looking for? And is that something I currently have? And if I do, why not use it? So in my last video, I talked about wanting to be able to be more creative in the space that I had. I also wanted to try some different things like Dutch doors and watercoloring and painting in my notebook and not have to worry about bleed through. I have a whole bunch of markers sitting around me that I would really like to be able to use in my notebook should I decide to, without having to worry about what it's going to do to the other side of the page. But with that said, I also know that I can do those things in Stalogy and don't have to worry because I can glue pages together if there's a horrible bleed. I like the way it crinkles. But for right now, I'm just feeling the need to maybe use some of these beautiful books that I have on my shelf. So I'm going to embrace that. Ultimately, the type of planning that I'm going to be doing is not going to change. My structure and the way that I plan, I'm very much at peace with. I think that it is adaptable to my needs on a day-to-day basis. I have found the things I like to have consistently in my notebook itself. And I've also really enjoyed having my companion Hobonichi Weeks that I use as my purse planner and my personal journal. So overall, my system really isn't going to change moving forward, and I don't really see it changing moving into 2022. But I have all these lovely books, and I figure it's time to give them a try. I want to go ahead though and take a look at the options that I have with you guys and kind of talk to you about why I may choose to use this next or why I may not. And my next video will show you exactly what I chose to do. So let's start with the different notebooks that are here. I have 3 different notebooks, 2 of which I think are pretty iconic in our community. It's the Leuchtturm 1917, and I will tell you the very first bullet journal I ever had was in a hardbound Leuchtturm 1917 with the 80 GSM dot grid paper. And pretty quickly I realized that 80 GSM wasn't really my happy point. And so I started to look at things like Scribbles That Matter, Dingbats, a few others that I've kind of pulled in and used every once in a while. but I'm always on the lookout for really good quality notebooks that call to me. Some of them are a little more expensive, some of them are a little cheaper, but these three notebooks are ones that I do have on my shelf pretty regularly. They range in paperweight from the thinnest paperweight that I have currently in a hardbound book is 120 GSM, and this is that new Leuchtturm that is at that weight, to two notebooks that I have a few Archer and Olives, and some of these, which are called Yop and Toms. You get them off Amazon and they're about $24. The Leuchtturms are around $23, and the Archer and Olive, depending on which page count you buy and different varieties, can range anywhere from $27, around $27 on sale, up to $32 plus. So these all kind of fall within the same range. And you know, I'm kind of itching to use them. So let's take a look. The Leuchtturm 1917 120 GSM, I really like. It's a planner that I think, as far as a dot grid notebook, is laid out pretty well. It has a hardbound kind of leatherette vegan cover. It comes with the elastic to hold the book closed. It has the gusseted pocket in the back, and it does have the numbered pages, which, you know, after using Astalogy for as long as I have, it's actually kind of nice not to have to worry about numbering my pages. But anytime you jump into a notebook like this, you're looking at a lesser page count, obviously. But I also know that I have plenty of notebooks in my stash. I'm not worried about page count. And so I'm going to use this in the same way I would Astalogy. The Leuchtturms do come with a printed title page. You have kind of this fly leaf page where your signatures are glued in. And then you have the index that is already pre-printed for you. And I am an indexer, so I appreciate this very much. Those of you who aren't, I know it's just kind of a wasted page. And then it goes straight into your first page, which is dot grid. Now, unlike the bullet journal edition, there is no grid spacing guide on the front cover. There's also no little indicator marks along the margins for your thirds, halfway marks, both vertically and horizontally. It truly is just a plain dot grid page. And the weight of the paper is actually really nice. It's not so thick that I feel like I'm turning, like this front page is thicker than the actual pages. And this is getting closer to a cardstock feel. This does not feel like cardstock to me. It is a heavier weight paper, but it doesn't feel or bend like cardstock. But I do know that it does have a really good ink tolerance. I counted out the number of grids. There are 26 grid spaces across, and there's 37 grid spaces down. So it's quite similar to the Astalogy as well. So I don't really foresee having a problem moving into a notebook like this. I do have this notebook in black and in this port wine color. And then I do have a black and blush version of the second edition bullet journal, the special edition. And to be honest with you, I didn't pull those out of the wrappers because there's so many videos on them that I figure if you're interested in looking, you might want to go see someone who does a really, really in-depth look. But the 120 GSM is something that I am interested in using. I think the heaviest weight paper previously that I've used is around 100 GSM. And I liked it, but there was still the bleed through factor whenever I pulled out my markers or paints or gouache or whatever, I really couldn't use it consistently without sometimes having those accidental bleed throughs. The next notebook is the Yop and Tom notebook, and I will tell you, this one is a contender. The only reason that I don't think I'm going to use it is because of the page count, and we'll get to that. Like I said, you can order these off of Amazon. There's multiple colors and multiple embossing imprints on the front. The cover itself is more of a soft kind of suede-y, fabric-y feel. It's not really fabric and it's not really suede. It's in between. It's that soft, smooth, vegan option for the cover. It does come with the elastic and one bookmark, which if you're a bookmark person, that could be a game changer. For me, I'll be honest, I cut them out. When I choose to use a notebook, the first thing I do is I take this and I bring it all the way to the top, and I take my sewing scissors and I just trim it right there because they drive me insane. I'll be perfectly honest. One of the things about this notebook, it is 160 GSM. Yop and Tom on Amazon.com. They also have their own store, their own website. It's yopandtom.com. You can go there as well. And this first page is truly cardstock. This makes me feel like I'm turning a children's book. But the paper inside, even though it's 120 GSM and it is a heavier weight paper, I can really feel the difference between a true cardstock and what's inside this notebook. It does come with a key page already built in. It is a bright white paper, which for me is a bonus because I hate it when my whiteout shows, and it's not going to show on here. It does have 3 index pages already set up, and then it goes into your first page of dot grid. The pages are numbered, and one of the things that really surprised me about this book is that it does have a medial marking, like the dot on both the vertical and horizontal midlines are darkened so you can see where they're at, and then the center dot for the page is darkened. You know, some people that might bother them. For me, it's not a game changer. I'm fine with it. I mean, after 18 months of ignoring the date marks up at the top of the Stalogy and the time bar, I think I can live with those. The other thing that I thought was really cool, and I'm going to show this to you, and truthfully, it's why I bought the notebook in the first place. I know that's horrible, but it comes with its own grid spacing tool where you can actually line it up right on the page, and it lines up with the dots. It gives you your grid spacing for 2 column, 3 column, 4 column, and 5 column with no spaces in between the columns. It also gives you 2 column, 3 column, 5 column, and 4 column with spaces in between your columns. So that is really, really nice because you can line it up and just kind of put your dots below there. But when you flip it over, it also gives you those same spacing guidelines for the other direction. So you can turn it this way and see you have your 2 column here, your 3, or not column, but row, 3 row, you have a 4 row and a 5 row with and without spaces. Or should you want to turn your notebook this way, it gives you exactly what you need. This little thing, honestly, was like, I mean, seriously, I can do the math. I know how to do the math easily. I've done it for you guys on camera, but this little spacing guide, I think, is brilliant. and it's something that I really appreciated, and so I wanted to get the book and see what I thought. I am going to use this book within this next 2 years, because that's basically how many notebooks I have in order to use up between hard and soft covers. And yeah, I just thought it was pretty darn cool. The reason I didn't think I'm going to use this, or the reason I didn't choose it, to be honest, was because the page count. The page count in this notebook, so if you are more of a traditional bullet journalist, I think this won't be a game changer, but because I do adapted bullet journaling where I do have a rapid log, but I also use a page a day of just expressive journaling. So I have a daily, and then my daily spreads are 2 pages. If you've watched my channel, you know that, and I love that. That makes me happy. If you're consuming that many pages, a book like this may or may not last you 2 months. I think you can definitely get 2 months in it. I don't think you could get more if you are a heavy page user. If you are truly someone who can get a month in 30 pages, then absolutely this is a great book to try out, especially if you're itching to try this 160 GSM paper and want some of those little benefits that you get, like from the Leuchtturm Bullet Journal Edition, which is 120 GSM, so it is a lighter paper. I just think this is a good idea, and I'm saying a lot today. It's because I'm tired. It's late at night. I'm trying to get this done so you guys have these videos while I'll be out. Overall, I think it's pretty great. I think it's just well made. I will tell you, it, doesn't have any real big concerns. The stitching on the signatures is honestly pretty fantastic. It doesn't lay as flat as like your Stalogy is going to right away, but if you train your pages, if you come in and train your spine a little bit, you're not going to have any problem. So I think that if you're looking for a starter into the heavy GSM paper, this is a really great option. Just be aware of the 153 page count, because if you're like me, like even here, the 153rd page is a pen test page and it's labeled. So you really only have 152 pages to use for your bullet journal and collections and everything else. So this is going to be one of those notebooks that I hold in reserve for when, possibly like December, when I know I'm going to have a ton of stuff that I need to put in, or it could become just one of my personal journals, which I do personal journal in either grid or dot grid, and I add art to my personal journal sometimes. So this could become a personal journal for me, or it may well just end up in the lineup if I have kind of one of those bleed over months. So we'll see what happens, but it is a great option. Yop and Tom, YOP and Tom. I mean, they use the ampersand, but if you just type in Yop ampersand Tom, TOM, you're gonna find it on Amazon. And like I said, there's like this cute little hummingbird in a sagey kind of green that I think I may end up purchasing at some point, not anytime soon because I have too many notebooks. But if someone does get it, send me a picture, because man, that thing was cute. Anyway, so those are the two options. You have the 120 GSM, you have the 160 GSM Yop and Tom, and those are both really great options if you're looking at moving into a hardcover, just to give yourself a little something different from the Stalogy, which I know there are people out there that never want to change from the Stalogy, and that is awesome. I wish at times I was like that, but I'm not. I like to change things up and try new things, and I'm not, I'm okay with that. That works for me because the notebook for me fits, my system fits in any notebook that I put it in. I could put it in a spiral 99-cent notebook from Walmart and be able to do what I do. I choose the notebooks based off of where I'm at in my creative space, what I'm looking for my notebook to do, and what my intentions are for the next 2 to 3 months. The last notebook that we're going to look at is the Archer and Olive. And I have to tell you guys, I can't wait to kind of get into the Archer and Olives. I haven't used one previously. I do own 1, 2, 3, I have 4 boxes. So I do own 4. I bought 2, and 2 were given to me as a gift by family. So I do have the Archer and Olives. And one of the reasons that I was drawn to Archer and Olive really comes down to 2 things. And when I say this, I know I'm freaking trivial. And I know that this is no reason to purchase a notebook. But I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, so I hope you understand that. I am a sucker for ampersands. I love ampersands. They're one of the things that I have little metal ampersand kind of artwork in my house and other artwork that has ampersands. I don't know what it is. I love their logo. I think it's adorable. And this may be the only notebook on the planet where I will not cut out the bookmark because it has this beautiful little ampersand charm at the bottom. And I know that. I know that's totally trivial. I laugh at myself even thinking of it, and I can't believe I just admitted it to you, but that's, yeah, that does it for me right there. That gets me all the little notebook thrills and chills right there. And I'm not a charm girl. I don't put charms on my planners. So the fact that that is my thing, I don't know. The other thing that I love is, let's be honest, when you start paying $20 or $30 for a notebook and they don't add this simple little thing, it annoys me. How hard is it to add a pen loop? And I know some of you love them and some people hate them. I am a pen loop girl because I throw my notebooks, I always have my notebooks in some sort of leather cover, but I'm a 2-pen type of person. I always have a fountain pen with me, and I generally will also have either an additional like Uniball or something like that that goes in with my notebooks so that I have options. Sometimes it's just my Kakuno and my Tombow that I'm using, but there's always 2. So I like it when the notebook actually has the pen loop. Now, I know I can get them on Amazon. I have them. I have the knockoff version of the Leuchtturm, that glue, peel off the backing and it sticks on. I have them. But when you're paying this kind of money for a notebook, give the dog a bone, right? Throw the girl a bone and give her the pen loop so I don't have to spend another $14 buying a pack of pen loops. Just saying. Leuchtturm, love these notebooks. This is my roots. Leuchtturm 1917 are the roots of planning for me. And the one thing I will say is I hate that they don't stick a pen loop on this notebook. Instead, they charge you to buy additional. And I understand that's a great business model, but for me, it makes me mad. Just gotta say, doesn't mean I won't use this notebook, but I'm giving props to Archer and Olive for putting the pen loop on there. And I know there's other companies like Scribbles That Matter and things, and I will tell you, it's one of the reasons I've used Scribbles That Matter. They have a pen loop. But Archer and Olive also has an ampersand charm at the bottom. And I know it's crazy. So anyway, I do have several of these notebooks in waiting, and I have enough to make it through the year. And I honestly think maybe 2022 will be the year of Archer and Olive for me. They do kind of pick up schmutz though. I'm realizing how dusty my desk is. I haven't had time to clean it. It's been a busy week. This is the 192 page, 160 GSM ultra thick paper dot grid notebook. And there's 1,001, walkthroughs and reviews of this notebook. So that's not what I'm here to do. Once again, when you open the cover, you have your title page where you put the belongs to. No grid spacing. That's not a deal breaker for me. You do have the kind of heavier cardstock flyleaf where your first page is glued in, because the signatures in this notebook are again sewn in, which allows for this beautiful lay flat capability for the notebook. Now, just like the other two notebooks that I showed you, you do have to train your spine a little bit when you first open the book. I don't think that that's asking too much, because to be perfectly honest, you have to train your spine in Astalogy. When you first open Astalogy, they kind of lay flat, but there's that little hump. You have to sit there and kind of train them down a little bit to get rid of your hump. So that it's really no different. But because of the way they sew the signatures in, once you really get that spine kind of relaxed a little bit, it's doing notebook yoga, right? You're just giving it some flexibility. You're doing a little yoga with it. You're stretching out all the muscles and getting it ready to, take on all the poses you might need for your notebook. That's what I think of it. It's my notebook yoga. Overall, I love the color of the paper. Archer and Olive does not have printed pages, so, either did Astalogy and I'd sit there in 20 minutes and have 300 and some odd pages numbered. So that's not a deal breaker for me. It doesn't have any of those little graphic elements that show you your medial lines or your thirds or anything like that. In the front, it goes straight to dot grid. There's no index, there's no key, there's no future log, so you have to do all of that yourself. And then the last page, there is no pen test. It does have the gusseted back pocket, which I do use. And overall, I just think it's a really good quality notebook, and I'm excited to use it. Everybody was kind of interested in what I thought of the 160 GSM. I have to tell you guys, I know that some people are really, really concerned about the different types of paper, and I get it. I mean, I have Tomoe River notebooks, or actually planners. They're not notebooks, they're planners. They're the Hobonichis. And that's beautiful paper, and I love it, and it's neat. But the paper itself, to me, is important, but the contents are more important to me and what I'm going to be able to do with it. I don't have to worry with 160 GSM about anything I want to use in here other than maybe Copic markers. And no, I would never put an alcohol Copic marker on this paper. I mean, Copic markers bleed through some of the best, papers that are out there, even for true artistic pursuits. And I'm a dabbler. I'm not a true artist. And so, no, I wouldn't be putting Copic marker on here, but pretty much anything else I'm going to throw at it, it's going to hold up. So that is a bonus for me. Don't mind Stalogy paper. It's very thin. I love it when you do watercolor on it and it crinkles, but I'm kind of at the point where the ghosting and gluing of pages and everything isn't really what I want to do right now. So I'm going to accept the fact that I'm getting an itch to switch, and I will come back to this. I know I will come back to Stalogy. That's why they're on my shelves. But right now, I just kind of want to go back to my roots, I guess, and that's a hardbound dot grid notebook. Also, this type of paper is not going to have a problem if I decide to throw in a Dutch door sometime in the next couple months. Not brave enough yet. I'm not going to lie. I don't think October will be the month of the Dutch door. Who knows? But we'll see. Overall, all of these notebooks, all 3 of these notebooks, I think are really, really great options. And you definitely will be seeing these notebooks in the months to come. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. So after being in Stalogy for so long with the thin paper, making the complete jump to 160, I think I need to kind of stair step up. So whichever notebook I choose, be it the bullet journal version or this Leuchtturm 1917 120G version, I think that's going to be where I go next. I just have to pick color, you know, and version. Do I want the bullet journal version or this one? Because I can stair step to this, see how it goes, and if I really don't have an issue with paper, which it's going to play out. This is my own personal little experiment happening. If the paper thickness doesn't bother me here, I know it's not going to bother me here, because yes, you can feel it, but it's not so much of a difference that it's going to be a game changer for me. So I'm going to reserve the beautiful Archer and Olives with my coveted ampersands for 2022 for sure. I know that January 2022 is going to be in one of these. I just have to pick which one. And like I said, this one I'm holding in reserve in case whichever Leuchtturm that I use, I run out of pages. I can always jump into this as an auxiliary, or I may use this as my next personal journal, which I'm kind of liking that idea as well. So the Yop and Tom is definitely going to get used probably within the next 3 months. And I'll let you know how it goes. I'll share that with you. But for the last quarter of 2021, I have decided to go ahead and scratch the itch. I'm going to jump into the Leuchtturm. I'm going to play in the 120 GSM paper, see how it goes, kind of get back to my roots. And I'm going to build the structure that I know works for me. And I have to say, I'm feeling really great about it. I'm really happy with my decision. I think it's going to work beautifully. This plum may be saved for another time. I think I'll probably go with black. The blush definitely screams spring to me, so it won't be the blush, and this plum may wait till another time. But the Leuchtturm is going to be the bullet journal I use next. So let's see, 30 minutes later, we've gone through all the notebooks. If you guys have any questions about any of the notebooks I sent today, please just put a comment down below. I'll definitely answer it for you. I think I've solved my, what am I going to do next problem, and what am I going to do moving into 2022? And what do you think? Do you think I'm crazy? After so many of these Stalogy notebooks, do you think I'm crazy for jumping? Let me know your thoughts. And as always, I will see you next time.